So just to take a look at some of these angles, sine of 5 degrees and sine of 175 give the same value. So we're going to check that. And then we're going to look at how are these angles related to each other. Sine of 5 degrees, you grab your calculator, sine of 5 degrees is 0.0877 and we'll keep 4 decimal places there. Sine of 175, I need 175, is the exact same thing. 0.087 and rounded. So these two angles create the exact same ratio. Okay. Now, these two are the same. How are the angles related to each other? From our last one, we know that 5 degrees plus 175 degrees equals 180. In other words, if we were to look at these angles drawn in standard position, 5 degrees, that's a pretty small angle, maybe it's like that. 5 degrees would be here, and our 175 degrees would be 180 minus 5 degrees. So if this is 175 degrees, that means this is also 5 degrees. What that means is when we do these calculations, we're using the exact same triangle to calculate them. So that's why they're exactly the same. If we take a look at the same pair of angles, so we're going to look at 5 and 175, the value of cos theta, okay, if you punch this into your calculator, I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. Okay, if you punch this into your calculator, cosine of 5 degrees is equal to 0.9962, and cosine of 175 degrees is equal to negative 0.9962. What do you notice about the values? They're the exact same values, but the cosine is negative. And the reason it's negative, remember, is because when we are in the second quadrant, which this angle is, right, it's between 90 and 180, the x value, or the adjacent that we're using when we calculate cosine, is negative. So that's why it's negative for this one, for 175 degrees, and it's not negative for this one. If we look at tangent, we get something similar. Okay, tangent of 5 degrees is equal to 0.0875, and tangent of 175 is equal to negative 0.0875. Same thing as this one. So it's important to remember sine is positive for both of these. Cosine is negative for this one, positive for this one. And tangent is also negative in this quadrant and positive in this quadrant. So this is interesting. If we use sine negative 1 on our calculator to solve for theta, if sine theta equals 0.5, what value does your calculator give you? It's really important that we start thinking about our calculators and how they work. You're smarter than your calculator. So if we punch this into our calculator, we're calculating sine negative 1 of 0.5 to find theta. Theta equals sine inverse, second sine of 0.5 is equal to 30 degrees. So this is the answer that your calculator gives you. Now if you think about this, we're looking at sine of an angle, and we're looking at sine of this angle is positive. What other value for theta is possible? So now you really have to think about it. Sine theta, and it's positive. We know from before that in, sorry I'm not using a ruler, this quadrant, sine is positive. And we know that in this quadrant, sine is also positive. So basically what we're being asked to do is your calculator will always give you usually it always gives you the smallest value possible. Okay? Even if that means sometimes going backwards. Not that we're worried about that right now, but your calculator gives you the smallest one possible. So what other value is possible? Well, if this is 30 degrees, that means that the supplementary angle, in other words, the one that goes over here, this little one here is also 30 degrees. So what other value is possible? Well, the supplementary angle. The supplementary angle to 30 degrees will also give us the same value. So how do you quickly determine that? Well, it's this full angle, 180, subtract the 30. That'll give us what we're left over with right here. So if we have, this is 30, then 180, subtract 30, which is equal to 150 degrees, should be my supplementary angle. It's the second angle. You can always double check that. You can punch it into your calculator and see if it works. Okay? Complete the following using a calculator and what you have learned. You can try this out on your own. You can pause this, try it out on your own. Basically what your calculator is going to do is give you the smallest value, and your job is to determine the second value possible. In other words, all you have to do is take 180 and subtract the first angle that your calculator gave you. So sine of, so we're doing the inverse sine to find the angle. Okay, inverse sine of 0.766 is equal to, sorry about the glare on my calculator, is equal to 49.99. So we'll just round that to 50. Okay, we're not too worried about being, that angle's 50. So the other angle that this could be is 180 minus 50 equals 130 degrees. Okay. Sine of 0 point, so to find the angle we take second sine of 0.9205 is equal to, we'll round that to 67. Or the supplementary angle, 180 minus 67 is equal to 113 degrees. So be really careful. Make sure that you can get both of those, and you'll be fine.